I drove 8 hours, a full workday behind the wheel, across 2 state lines, all for my sister's engagement dinner. I'd called her a week prior, absolutely buzzing with excitement, asking about details, if I could help with anything, what time I should arrive. Her voice had been a little distant, I'd thought at the time, but I'd dismissed it as pre-wedding stress. "Just be here by 7, sis," she'd said. "It's going to be great, so glad you're coming." So I made the journey. 8 long, solitary hours of podcasts, bad radio, and anticipating seeing my little sister, Sarah, glowing with happiness. My phone had died a few hours into the drive, a rookie mistake, so I hadn't been able to check messages. I just kept going, fueled by the thought of celebrating her. When I finally pulled up to my parents' house, where the dinner was supposedly being held, the lights were off. Not dim, but off as if no one was home. My heart sank a little. Had I gotten the time wrong? No, 7 o'clock, she'd said. I checked my watch, 6:58 p.m. Perfect. I called her phone, no answer. Called my mom, no answer. A knot of dread started tightening in my stomach. I knocked, then knocked again, harder this time. After a few agonizing minutes, a car pulled into the driveway, and it was my parents, with Sarah and her fiancé, Mark, in the back seat. They all looked, dressed up, and full. As they got out of the car, laughing about something, my mom spotted me standing on the porch. Her smile faltered. My dad looked equally surprised. Sarah's face went from joyous to a kind of blank, unreadable expression. "Hey guys," I said, forcing a cheerful tone, trying to shake off the weird vibe. "I made it, just in time, huh?" Sarah walked up to me, and that's when she dropped the bombshell. Her voice was flat, devoid of any warmth. "Oh, we had it last night." My breath hitched. I just stared at her, trying to process. Asterisk last night. Asterisk my mind reeled. Had I misheard her on the phone? Was it a joke? My parents were avoiding eye contact, shuffling their feet. Mark just gave me an awkward, sympathetic half-smile. "Last night." I repeated, my voice barely a whisper. But you said tonight. You said 7 o'clock. Sarah shrugged, a casual, dismissive gesture that hit me like a physical blow. "Yeah, well, plans changed. Sorry." Asterisk sorry. Asterisk after I drove 8 hours. After I rearranged my entire week, took a day off work, spent money on gas and snacks, all to be here for asterisk her asterisk. My vision blurred. I could feel the heat rising in my face, a mixture of disbelief, hurt, and hot anger. But I didn't yell, I didn't scream. I just looked at her, at my parents, who were still silent, offering no explanation, no apology, nothing. And then a strange calm settled over me, a cold, hard resolve. I forced a smile, a wide, almost manic smile. "Oh, okay," I said, my voice eerily steady. "Well, that's just fantastic." I turned, got back into my car, and drove away. I didn't say another word. I didn't even slam the door. I just smiled and left. Now, tell me, was I wrong for what I did? Would you have done the same thing? My story with Sarah wasn't always like this. We were close as kids, typical sisters, a mix of petty squabbles and fierce loyalty. I'm 5 years older, so I always felt a protective instinct over her. When our parents divorced when I was a teenager, it hit Sarah harder. I stepped up, trying to be a second mother, a confidante, anything she needed. I missed out on a lot of my own teen years, always putting Sarah first. Fast forward to adulthood, and things started to shift. Sarah always had a flair for the dramatic, a tendency to make everything about herself. I'd chalked it up to her being the baby of the family, a bit spoiled. I moved away for college, then stayed for work, making the our drive back home for every major family event, every birthday, every holiday. Sarah, on the other hand, rarely made the trip to see me. It was always, "Oh, it's too far," or "I'm too busy." I tried not to let it bother me, convincing myself that our bond was strong enough to transcend distance and effort imbalances. When she met Mark, I was genuinely thrilled for her. He seemed like a good guy, stable, kind. I called her immediately after she told me they were engaged. I was so excited, so happy for her. That's when I asked about the dinner. I remember the conversation vividly. "So, when's the big engagement dinner, sis? I want to be there." I'd gushed. She'd laughed, a light, airy sound that now, in retrospect, feels chilling. "Oh, we're still planning it, but it'll probably be next Saturday. I'll let you know for sure, but pencil it in, okay?" I confirmed with her a few days later, texting her to ask about the exact date and time. She'd replied, "Next Saturday, 7 p.m. at Mom and Dad's. Can't wait." I had it written down, circled on my calendar. I even took a screenshot of her text, just to be sure. I rearranged my work schedule, sacrificing a lucrative consulting gig I had lined up for that Friday. I told my boss I had a family emergency, because celebrating my sister's engagement felt like an emergency of the heart. I packed a nice outfit, bought a thoughtful engagement gift, a personalized photo album for them to fill with memories. I even had a whole speech prepared in my head about how proud I was of her, how much I loved her. The drive itself was grueling. 8 hours of being cooped up, but I didn't mind. I was doing it for Sarah. My phone dying was a fluke, a small annoyance that became a huge obstacle, preventing me from getting any last-minute updates. Not that it would have mattered, apparently. No one had even tried to contact me to tell me the plans had changed. No text, no voicemail, no email, nothing. It's the silence that still screams at me, the deliberate omission. They knew I was coming, they knew I was driving all that way, and they let me. They let me drive for 8 hours, excited and full of love, only to arrive to a dark house and a casual dismissal. The sting of betrayal was almost unbearable. It wasn't just about the dinner. It was about years of feeling like I was the one always making the effort, always prioritizing our relationship, only to be treated as an afterthought. It was about seeing my parents stand there, complicit in her casual cruelty, unable to even offer a simple apology or explanation. They absolutely knew I was coming. I'm not some lost relative they hadn't seen in years. I'm their daughter, her sister, the woman who practically raised her. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have confronted them, yelled, demanded an explanation? Or would you have done what I did? I drove away, back down the driveway, and out onto the main road. I didn't pull over, didn't cry, didn't even turn on the radio. I just drove. My mind was a whirlwind of emotions: hurt, anger, confusion, and a deep, crushing sense of disappointment. I kept replaying Sarah's face, her casual shrug. It wasn't just an oversight. It felt intentional, a deliberate slight. As I drove, a plan started to form in my mind. Not a malicious, vengeful plan, but a plan of quiet, dignified withdrawal. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break down. I was going to disappear. I drove for another 2 hours before pulling into a cheap motel. I checked in, bought a charger for my phone, and finally, my phone blinked to life, buzzing with a flood of missed calls and texts. Mostly from Sarah, a few from my mom, all sent within the last hour, Where are you? Why did you leave? Are you okay? I ignored them all. I ordered some greasy room service, took a long, hot shower, and tried to wash away the feeling of betrayal. The next morning, I drove the 8 hours straight back home. My phone continued to buzz, but I kept it on silent. I needed space. I needed to process. When I finally got home, I collapsed on my couch, utterly drained. It was then that I decided I wasn't going to attend Sarah's wedding, not after this. The next day, I called Sarah. Her voice was full of manufactured concern. Where did you go? Are you okay? Why didn't you answer? I cut her off, my voice calm, almost detached. Sarah, why did you tell me the engagement dinner was Saturday when it was Friday? There was a long pause. Well, plans changed last minute, and we just forgot to tell you. Another shrug in her voice. It was just easier that way, honestly. You live so far. My heart ached, but my resolve hardened. Easier for whom, Sarah, not for me. I drove 8 hours, took a day off work, bought you a gift, all to be there for you, and you forgot to tell me. She started to get defensive. It's not that big a deal. It was just a dinner. It was a big deal to me, I said, my voice rising slightly. It was about respect, Sarah, about effort, about our relationship. And then I delivered the final blow as calmly as I could. I won't be coming to your wedding, Sarah. The silence on the other end was deafening. What? You're serious, over this? She finally sputtered, her voice laced with outrage. Yes, I'm serious. If my presence at your engagement dinner was so inconsequential that you could forget to tell me about a change of plans, then my presence at your wedding probably won't be missed either. I wish you and Mark all the best, but I can't be there. I can't support a relationship with you that is so utterly one-sided. She started to cry, to plead, to accuse me of overreacting, of ruining her wedding, but I was done. I listened for a few more minutes, then simply said, "Goodbye, Sarah," and hung up. My parents called, separately, trying to mediate, trying to guilt-trip me. "She's your sister," my mom wailed. It was just a misunderstanding. My dad tried. I explained my feelings, calmly and clearly. I told them how hurt I was, how disrespected. I told them that if they truly believed, it was just a misunderstanding. Then they didn't understand me at all. I didn't go to the wedding. I sent a card, a generic one, no personalized message, and no gift. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. The aftermath has been quiet. Sarah didn't speak to me for months. My parents were frosty, always bringing her up in conversations, trying to make me feel guilty. But I held my ground. Eventually, Sarah reached out, a few months after her wedding. Her tone was different. Subdued, she apologized, truly apologized, for the first time. She admitted she'd been selfish, that she'd taken my efforts for granted. We're slowly, very slowly, rebuilding our relationship. It's not the same. The trust is still fragile. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm finally putting myself first. This whole experience taught me a profound lesson about self, worth, and the importance of setting boundaries, even with family. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to walk away from disrespect, no matter how much it hurts. It's a painful truth, but one I had to learn the hard way. Like this video, if you were on my side in this whole mess. Subscribe for more stories like this, and please, share your final thoughts on this whole ordeal in the comments section below. I want to hear what you would have done. I'll see you all in the next story.